use your old media clout to push around these new media people. You got to, and I guarantee you'll build a channel that'll talk about how to get into anime. Okay, well, this sucks. I'm bored. Let's go to our interview. Marissa Lenti. Hey, how's it going? What's going on?
Oh, just escaping a tornado.
There's a tornado right now?
Yeah, there sure is.
Well, what you're in, so you've been working with Funimation for about, 3 or 4 years now? So that's what, Dallas, the tornado, or what's going on?
Yes. Here in Dallas, we are having a tornado watch.
Okay, that's pretty good. I mean, is your power going to go out?
Hopefully not.
Okay. Well, that's good. Yeah, you gotta pray. You gotta pray. Anyway, so here with Marissa Lenti, you were one of our first interviews. It was either you or a guy trying to start the Timothy and religion. I can't remember which one, but you were there. I think we talked to you twice in 2015, and we're here back again. And I think you were one of our first interviews or something like that, or we were one of your first interviews, something along those lines.
I think this was the first podcast.
Yeah,
that I did.
So what I'm wondering is, how many other interviews have you done? What's been going on with that? How have they been treating you?
Oh, fine. I've been on, it's a great question. It's at least double digits at this point.
Okay. So what I got to ask is, where do we rank in best podcast interviews?
Definitely above the last one I did.
What was the last one you did?
Don't worry about it.
Okay. I saw you did, because we actually got interviewed by the same podcast one time. It was the Jello Apocalypse guy. We did his you were on one episode of his thing, and they had you on for like voice acting or something. I was on for cinematography. But
I love those guys.
Yeah,
they were not the problem interview.
Yeah, no. Well, no, come on, name names. Who was the problem interview?
No.
Okay.
I don't think it's even out.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Well, we're gonna like search it and find it and work eventually, and I'll know it when I hear it. Trust me. But it's okay. So anyway, so you've had a level of progression, more Twitter followers, more roles, so on and so forth. Last time we talked to you, you had been in Fairy Tail and One Piece. What other shows have you been? What other big roles you been getting?
Since 2015, gee. All right. Let's see. I voiced Chiaki in Gamers, which is one of the main characters of that.
Good.
I voiced Momoko Hyakushiki and Ku, which is a cat, in the show Nanbaka. And that's not Momoko's kind of the biggest female character in that show. I recently booked and flew to New York to record Alicia Florence in Aria the Animation, which was a Kickstarter dub. And that show's like 4 seasons long, so that's ongoing. I voiced Kohaku, which is a tiger in Another World with my smartphone a couple seasons back.
Oh yeah, I saw that on IMDb.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
One of my faves. I was in Keijo, which is the anime about girls sumo wrestling, but they can only hit each other with their butts and their boobs.
I mean, you're in porn now? What's going on?
I mean, it's close, but it's not quite there. It's more like a sports with assets.
Okay. Well,
and my character Atsuko was an extremely muscular giant woman.
Is it like one of these things that only lasts one season?
Yeah, it was a quick these are all simuldubs, or like a lot of them are simuldubs, which is something that Funimation's been doing, where every season they will dub new shows as they come out, like only 2 weeks behind the Japanese broadcast. So these are shows that like they could get a second season, but we still don't know. They're so new.
That's pretty cool. Well, anyway.
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't like that 10 years ago, to my knowledge.
Absolutely not. No, this is, I want to say 5 years maybe at this point. When they first started doing it, it wasn't every show of the season. The first one was Space Dandy. And it was the only show of its season to be done in that style. But nowadays, it has grown to the point where almost every show that Funimation is doing per season is a simuldub.
Well, that's good. Internet. Age of the internet. Age of the fast transfers. Age of the digital. That's what's good. So lots of great things happen, I'm sure, whoever is waiting on. But then again, it's a weird spot, because all the people I know or the type of guys that I know who keep up with anime that comes out in Japan as it comes out in Japan, they're usually the type of people who are purists who are like, oh, I don't like the dub.
Right, exactly.
So, I mean, does that hit numbers or what's the deal? What's the issue with that?
There is a market for it. It's a much smaller market than the people who are traditionally looking for dubs. Because traditionally, like, the people who are watching dubs are people who are seeing it on TV, and then anyone who's like a home video enthusiast. So we're running into a situation now where, like, people don't even realize that these dubs exist until they come out on home video. And by that point, the dub's already been available online streaming for like a year or two. But even if the show gets done like really quick, as soon as it comes out, like, what comes out on home video is the same regardless. So it's still making the same home video numbers. The only difference is that now there's a version that's available like super early online. And there's a handful of people who do like to keep up with the dub as it comes out. So it's a much smaller piece of the anime pie, you know, the people who are watching the simul dubs.
Yeah.
But that dub eventually becomes the home video dub. And at that point, like, it's the same as if it was dubbed normally.
Would you say, I guess give me a quick answer for this. Would you say the internet and streaming, would you say that's helped or hurt Funimation? Because for a lot of companies, it's hurt.
I mean, I think Funimation is the only one that's actually adapted to being able to do it where it helps them, because they have a streaming service. You know, they're selling their streaming service and people are buying subscriptions to the streaming service to watch the simuldubs. I don't think any other company could do what Funimation is doing, because for any company aside from them, it's like a death knell business model.
Okay. One thing I want to ask is there something that comes with social media attention, or I guess just media attention from a blog site or whatever, what have you? Is there something that you were absolutely not expecting, or is something that someone told you about, warned you about, but you really didn't see the impact until it actually happened?
What do you mean by social media attention?
Whether it's doing panels, whether it's like fan interaction, whatever, is there something that you did not see coming that, oh, wow, I actually have to worry about this, I actually have to manage this, or did you ever feel your attitude towards situations change as more traffic started coming your way?
Yeah, I guess, there's some pressure on you to curate your social media, not to be so personal, to keep it very professional.
Yeah.
But I have my social media actually divided into tiers. So my Facebook is all professional all the time. There is no personal posts on there. My Twitter's kind of a blend, and then my Instagram is all personal. So when fans want to interact with me, they can kind of go to whichever social media best suits their needs. The other big problem is just, man, I didn't see this coming when I first became a voice actor, but you are going to run into a lot of people who are going to send you porn of your characters.
Like in a public post or like a DM?
Both.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. No, I remember. I could only assume sexual harassment online is pretty big for, especially in the anime and gaming communities.
Oh, sure.
What I'm wondering is, like, because I remember, and this was years ago, you retweeted someone, I think it was Dawn Bennett. Is that a name you know?
Yeah.
Okay. You retweeted something she said something to the effect of, don't come to actresses and tell them, like, how sexy you think their characters are, stuff like this. How often do you get some sort of, like, harassment like that?
It's not super frequently, but definitely, like, I would say on the month. Like, there's usually a day every month where I'll get some kind of strange message. And it primarily comes from Keijo, which was that show I was just telling you about, One Piece, because my character is like a dominatrix in that, and Death Battle, because I voiced Bayonetta in that. And those are usually the three series where I get just weird messages or images.
So the first two I would expect, and I would assume people go to you for a character that you were just voice matching for a series of hypotheticals.
Yeah. Well, because you got to think about it this way. Like, even if, I only voiced the character for this parody thing, and I only voiced her for the fight's like 5 minutes long.
Yeah.
I am insanely more accessible than the actual actress.
Oh, yeah, that's true. let me ask this. When it first started coming to you, when guys like this would start coming out of the woodwork, I assume you don't reply anymore, but was there a point where you would reply saying, hey, go away?
No, never. I find that responding to anything online that you don't want to see more of is a terrible idea. So I don't engage not only with like if someone's sending me something weird or harassing, but just like I don't like retweeting things I don't agree with and being like, here's why I don't agree with that. I like to keep my social media a positive space, man. And I don't find that responding to that kind of stuff really benefits anyone in any way. It just gets your followers upset, and then you're upset, and then everyone's upset, and the person who originally sent it to you, like that's the reaction that they want, obviously. So no, I've never. I've tried to kind of restrain myself from ever responding.
When we first talked to you, you had yet to do a single panel as a performer. Just give me a number real quick. How many have you done in the last, since then, total, ever?
I'm probably getting around 10 at this point, because I've been to a couple conventions at this point, and I've also done some like not conventions, but more like live events. At like bookstores and libraries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I've done a number more panels at this point.
So do you ever get creepy harassers in real life at these panels?
Thankfully, no.
Huh.
You meet some interesting characters at conventions, but people generally not at panels. Where you'll sometimes run into a problem is me and a lot of the other younger voice actors, we're always like on the streets, working our brand. And we usually have dealer's hall or artist alley tables where we sell autograph cards. And it's surprisingly, you get a lot of traffic there, like people coming up to you and being like, I know you from this, this, and that. Do you have an autograph card of that character? And then you sign in. It's good. But because you're sitting still in one place for hours on end, that's usually where the weirder people kind of appear, because, you're stuck there. And
give me a story.
And sometimes, oh gosh.
Don't name names, but give me a story.
Won't name names. I could give you a story. Nothing significant really happened. Like there's no climax to this story.
Paint the picture.
But we were at an event where I want to say there were maybe like 10 voice actors all in a row. And this person had just armfuls of stuff for these people to sign. And I don't think they really knew which voice actors were which, because they would sort of just put everything on the table and be like, were you in any of this? And so you see all these voice actors in a row just like sorting through objects, being like, yes, no, maybe, what? And then after the first round, they just kind of kept doing it for like hours and hours. This person
did this person seem like one of the crazies, or was this like just a normal person who wasn't familiar with how it works?
I think that this dude maybe had something going on.
Okay.
But it's hard to say. You don't know people.
Let me ask this, because this is I know, because in now that anime dubbing has sort of become butted as its own industry and its own fan base and etc. What happens is, I know this happens with sports memorabilia, where you get guys who are going to have like 10 things that you were in or whatever, and they go up to you and they need every single thing signed, and they do this for the purposes of resale and also the purposes of having stock in as many things as possible so they can sell on eBay later. Do you ever get like eBay market guys? Have you ever encountered those? Are those at conventions?
Yes, they are. And it's pretty common, actually, where you'll have people come up with a bunch of stuff. Usually, if it's a big convention, they will have some sort of rule in place to make sure that doesn't happen. Like usually it's 2 items per actor, I think, is the limit. But then people will try and find you at like your artist alley table where nobody's really protecting you, and then they'll have all this stuff. And the sort of agreed upon method of making sure that doesn't happen to you is just to make sure that you put something personal. Don't just sign your name. Like address it to the person or chat with them a little bit and find something out about them and then add that to your signature. And I mean, for the people who are reselling, it ruins the autograph for them. Yeah. But for the people who aren't reselling, it's just a nice thing to have. You know, like a slightly personalized signature is just nice in general. So it's got like a benefit as well.
Don't they usually do the thing where it's you charge per signature?
No, anime voice actors usually don't charge for their signature. What we do instead is if you bring us an item, we sign it for free. But if you don't have an item for us to sign, we have the autograph cards that cost money. So you can buy the autograph card and then we sign that. And that's how we make, money at conventions. But we tend not to charge fans for signatures or pictures or anything like that, just because if someone's charging for a signature, they're usually like a huge movie star. And obviously the anime stars are big within the anime space, but they're not star.
I'm not saying that they would charge for that reason, but I'm saying they charge for the reason of deterring the,
not really.
Autograph guys. No, okay.
Not really.
Well, the concept of personalizing it, are you just going to do that? Are you going to ask for it? Or so personalizing it ruins the resale value. Have you ever asked, who am I making this out to? And they tell you just the name. Have you ever had a conflict like that?
No, people are usually very nice about it. When I say, who am I making this out to? They'll give me their name. It's not a problem. Like, I haven't super run into the reseller problem. But I'm sure other actors have.
So I guess a lot of people would know you for your work at Funimation because, there's a machine behind that.
Sure.
What I'm wondering is, what % of your work actually is in the Funimation studio for that company?
Maybe like 10-15%.
That's it.
So
wow.
it's crazy, I
yeah.
do a lot more work. I work at a studio called Sound Cadence. And I do directing there and also voice acting. And I'm there like a lot of the time. So I do that way more. But I would say like a huge chunk of my business is commercials. And I record commercials from home. Or I go to local Dallas studios that do commercials.
No, commercial is definitely huge. I started working I worked for some voiceover demo reel company, and they the concept of anime dubbing, that's like so small to them, or like the concept of cartoons, that's so tiny to them. And I was explaining to them okay, for the people making money right now, yeah, that's very tiny. But as far as it seems like all the kids who want to get into it, they think that that's all it is.
Right.
So the flip is very dramatic. But anyway,
well, I've always kind of said it as like commercial work will like put food on your table. Yeah. Anime work and cartoon work will lead to people knowing who you are. So when you do cartoon work, you're not doing it for pay because the pay is bad, especially for anime. But what you're doing it, because fans are going to interact with you and say that they like your work and they're going to come see you at conventions. And like, that's the pay for anime, For commercials, that's like real work. And that's like, I can feed my family with commercial work. Anime work is never going to feed you or your family, but it is going to it's going to grow, you as a brand, I guess.
Last month we had on, you ever met Kyle Hebert?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously anime dubbing, visibility wise, it's much bigger than it used to be. 20 years, if we're going off that gap. I couldn't get a straight answer out of him, and I wasn't asking him for an exact figure, but I was trying to figure out was between, the first voiceover check in, 1999 and a voiceover check now, and maybe you could answer this, as far as just the percentage increase, do you have any idea of how much bigger it's gotten? Has there been an increase? Okay.
I do not know, but I would hazard a guess that probably not, because the business is the same, I think the main difference that you're going to run into is that now that there's more voice actors, the money's spread around more. But I would hazard a guess that if it has gone up, it's probably not a lot. But I can't speak from experience because I was not working in the 90s.
So voiceover in general, you've been at it for a few years now. Would you say it's paying better or worse than expected? Or did you have no expectation?
It's about what I expected. But that's because I do so many commercials that I'm like, okay. I'm sure that people who came into it specifically for anime are maybe a bit blindsided by just how it's not people's whole jobs. Like everyone that you meet in the anime industry has something else going on, be it more voiceover or something completely different. But I kind of came into it with very whatever sort of expectations. So I was not super blindsided.
Okay. Is there anything coming out, or is there some big show coming out right now that you would like to get on? That whether it's like a Western cartoon and it pays more, or just it's something that you think you would portray very well?
God, I would love to be on Voltron.
Oh, that's coming back?
Yeah. So season 5 just came out, and season 6 is in a couple months. And then I think there's going to be 8+ seasons.
Is that Western animated, or is that going to be a dub?
That's Western animated.
Okay. So
Voltron Legendary Defender specifically is the new show.
Was Voltron originally Japanese?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because I was about to say.
That was Go Lion was the Japanese one. And then we brought it over here. We made it Voltron. And then this new series is kind of based on the original, but kind of based on the dub, because the old dub is super censored and changed around. And then they sort of took that as a base and then went off in a totally different direction. The new one's animated by, or it's put out by DreamWorks, and the animation is Avatar: The Last Airbender kind of style.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. All right, I know what you're talking about now. Avatar: The Last Airbender, that came out, 2006?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
2006, yeah. That came out right when I was getting out of cartoons. Yeah, no, so there is... I mean, I see tons of people who are well into their 20s who are really enthusiastic about Avatar: The Last Airbender. Are you one of these people?
Not super. I watched it when it was on TV, but I'm finding that as far as shows that are in that style, I'm enjoying Voltron exponentially more. But that's because it's just my kind of show.
Right. I mean, were you watching Voltron when you were a kid?
Not the original, no. Oh. I just got into this new series, which I want to say this was from the 2010s. Right. It got started.
Anime work, it leaves a bit to be desired with pay. Do you have any plans to move to Los Angeles in the future?
I've been thinking about it. As it stands right now, I don't think it's in the cards. But it is a move that I think that all Texas actors think about at some point, because Texas has video games. Yeah, that's the thing. It's Texas has the huge benefit of the simuldubs. Your characters are being released right now. They're being announced right now. The show is coming out week to week. And a lot of my resume because of that is characters who came out week to week over the past 2 years that I've been portraying in simuldubs. So there's a huge benefit to voice actors wanting to get started to kind of be in Texas because you accrue these characters. Whereas if you're working in LA or New York, you might have a ton of roles under your belt and none of them are announced to the public.
Let me get this straight, because we were speaking of LA. As far as primary markets go, would you say New York is for commercial, LA is for character video games, Western, and Texas is for the anime?
Yes. Okay. Absolutely. LA has a good anime community and could probably start to rival Texas if there was just a little bit more going on, because they have huge, great titles out there, and they have a really thriving anime voice actor community. The only benefit that Texas has is that both Funimation and Sentai are here, and they are both now doing simuldubs. Sentai has just announced that they are going to start doing simuldubs, but they're not calling it that. They're calling it dubcasts. So Texas is now the hub for immediate anime, coming out right now, whereas LA is still kind of doing things the traditional way of completing the whole thing and then releasing it, but behind the scenes, there is still a huge wealth of anime work going on there. So I would say that LA I would also consider a primary market for anime, but it is the huge one as far as video games are concerned.
Okay. Let me ask you this. There was a debate a couple weeks ago on the show. What would you rather have, a video game addiction or a heroin addiction?
A video game addiction.
Wrong answer.
How is that a debate?
How is it a debate? Video game addiction's like lame. If you have a heroin addiction, like people either A, feel bad for you, B, think you're cool.
But then you die.
You don't die from it. Dude, I know heroin addicts that are like 60.
Okay, but that's not, like, you can't say that that's a full life. You'd have to see if they live all the way to like 90 or 100.
But is being addicted to video games, is that a full life?
Yes. I mean,
I disagree.
Playing video games, nothing wrong with that.
Well, I mean, wait, how many video games have you been in?
A lot.
Okay, yeah, this is a biased answer. You need people to be addicted to video games so you can get paid. But that's okay. I believe in capitalism. I'm not against that. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, I've been doing a decent amount of video games since we last spoke.
What games? Anything I heard of?
Tamagotchi.
Oh, I know that. Wait,
Yeah.
They still make that?
Yeah, they made a new one.
Is it like a smartphone thing though?
Yeah, it sure is.
I knew it. God, I'm getting good at this.
Yeah, I voiced all the male Tamagotchis in this new one.
Male Tamagotchis.
Yes, all the male Tamagotchis.
Who voices the female Tamagotchis? A man?
No, a more girly sounding woman.
Huh. Okay. Yeah. No. I was talking to one of my VO friends. She said she voiced Molly Ringwald in a Breakfast Club smartphone game. That was pretty funny. What's the work for a Tamagotchi? Because it used to be just beeps and bloops. What's going on now? Do you have to like go ah?
Yeah, basically, it was all just noises. Like they don't talk. So for me, it was like laughter. A lot of laughter. They were like. Like it's just all noises, all like baby talk noises, and then there was like eating.
Yeah. Is there like did you have to do efforts for like getting hit?
No, but they do have to poop.
Okay. Well, hitting them is a lot more fun than watching them go to the bathroom for me. You know. But I had a damaged childhood anyway. So let's see. So when you're at these panels, all 10 of them, approximately. Mm-hmm. When you're at these panels, I see this so much, and I was trying to. I've asked a few VOs this, and they've all been like too nice to like really give me the real. But hopefully, you can give me the real here. How awkward is it when you get the guy with like a speech impediment or something, and he's like trying to ask, or not even a speech impediment, but he like this incredibly shy person that's like shaking. Like how do you deal with that? Is that like hard to look at?
No.
Or do you feel like God?
When you're at a panel at an anime convention, you're kind of expecting that kind of thing. Like people are going to be nervous and people are going to be like freaking out. That doesn't bother me. And generally you just chill and let the person ask their question and everything's usually fine. What bothers me is the person who stands up and is like, I have a 5-part question.
Oh yeah, I've seen those. Oh yeah. Oh, let me ask this. Has there been a panel where you weren't asked, how do I get into voice acting?
Yeah. So I actually have started starting panels with just like, okay, I'm going to give you the lowdown.
Oh, okay.
And I give the lowdown up top.
So the whole content of your panel is how someone gets into voice acting?
No,
Wait.
Just whenever I give a panel, or like I'm on a panel with a group of people and it's not about something specific, like if it's about a specific show or something, you can generally assume that all the questions are going to be on topic. But if it's just like meet the voice actors for this convention sort of panel, I will be like, okay, before we start answering questions, here's how you get into voice acting, and just give them the lowdown up top, because otherwise you're going to get that question.
Okay, that makes sense. Oh, have you done it? Have you done that and then proceeded to get asked it again, but in a different wording?
Yes.
Good. Cool. All right. So I think you've given us, and also some of the younger VOs trying to get to where you are, a good idea of what to expect, how to deal with the social media pressures and the exposure that comes with working at either Funimation or another dubbing thing, being a part of something bigger than the brand you have going on currently. So,
sure.
That's we'd like to thank you. And do you have any questions for us?
Questions?
I don't know. What do you want to say? What do you want to talk about? Is there something you want to talk about?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, me? Oh, my goodness.
You didn't prepare me for this. I told you to tell me if I had to prepare something.
We got to go on the spot here.
You didn't prepare me.
We had a 2 months ago, we had a battle rap guy, and he specifically doesn't like to be prepared. So I thought that you maybe had you were cut from that tree, perhaps.
No, absolutely not.
You're not an improv?
No. Oh, I have done improv, but I don't like it. That's one of the great things about voice acting is that you're working on this script and you can kind of, instead of creating like, oh, I'm going to just create a performance right now, blah, you're sort of like, no, I'm going to carefully craft this performance so that when someone listens back to it, it's going to be like perfect, and then once it's recorded and it's perfect, you never have to do it again. It's good forever. And you can just kind of leave it as such.
But check this out. Would you say doing Walla or background voices or whatever, would you say that's a big part of initially for a voiceover's career?
Oh, yeah. You do, even if you don't like improv like me, you have to be good at it.
I've had to just literally feed lines for Walla because people just could not get it. And so basically I'll be like, okay, cheer, something good's going on, cheer. And, give us like 5 different takes and slightly different voices and we'll layer them over, so I'll do that. And literally every single time I've had actors go, woo, yeah, okay, all right. And they'll say those exact words and phrases every single time in the exact same place.
Yeah.
Except in a different voice. But anyway, you said you were good at improv. Have you figured out something you want to talk about?
Oh, how's your show been?
Sucks.
Tell me about that. Oh, no.
Sucks.
It's been 3 years.
We get twice the viewers we used to, so that's pretty good.
That's a good thing.
We get like 5 times the viewers when there's like a conflict or there's a fight going on.
Oh no!
So we had one time. What's it called? We made up a fake character named Shiro Uzumaki. And he was this guy who really liked, USB microphones. And we had this guy come in, and, it was just our friend pretending to be like, a goofy guy. And we just verbally assaulted this guy for like a whole hour. We ripped into him. We were calling him every insult, and people thought it was real. And
oh, no.
we had like 200 listeners that show. That was pretty good. I remember you wanted to do a 6th, or at the time it would have been a 5th voice acting video. That had to be an online voice actor series. And I'm gonna say this right now. This series has given me, I can say and do whatever I want to these little voice actor kids. It's so great. It's amazing. I love this power trip. But anyway, because what's it called? When people approach me, they think I'm going to be like this nice guy, but they don't understand that educated people can also like make fun of you. So I have all the power in the world. But anyway, I remember you wanted to do a video on breaking into anime specifically, right?
Yeah.
So, I think my explanation for why I couldn't do it was I can't, in the same series, say anime acting sucks and then tell people how to get into anime because it creates mixed messages. It creates confusion for the people who know me. But what I want to ask you is, have you taken any steps to produce that video on your own to help out the would-be anime lovers?
Not on my own because I am garbo at video production, but I have actually started. There is a series on YouTube right now that's like, why don't anime dubs blank? And it's all about like, why.
I hate those videos. Those suck. You gotta be kidding me.
You hate those guys?
Here's the thing. I'm known as the guy who hates all video essays because here's the deal. Because one of those videos was like, okay, why don't they edit the lip flaps, right? And it's like, okay, that's a legitimate question. Okay. And here's the thing. The answer was, 1, too expensive, takes too long, and, for contractual reasons, they can't do it. That's the answer, right? I just explained you the whole video in 10 seconds. It took this guy 23 minutes. That's why I hate these videos.
I like long videos.
I hate long videos. Can't stand.
I'm sorry.
I like long videos. Difference in opinion. I like long videos when they're movies. Like I just watched Saw 3 for the first time. You ever seen that movie?
No, I don't like scary movies.
It's not scary. No,
it's scary.
It's not. It's like gory. It's not scary. Like it's funny.
That
I think
counts.
It's like when the lady like gets her head blown off by the shotgun collar. That was funny as hell. I was laughing. But anyway,
I don't like gory, scary movies.
Oh, I'll give you the Barney version. But anyway,
I like video essays. I really do. And just because I'm the kind of person that I like listening to someone info dump for like a half hour. But what I was getting at was I have started fact checking on those videos. So they will send me the script and I'll just correct.
Right. Okay. All right.
So that's my little tiny contribution. Although I would like to make a more specific, like, how do you get into anime voice acting? Because most of the how do you get into anime voice acting videos usually start with a caveat or like a warning that's like, you can't make your career on just anime. Like, you have to become a voice actor in all things. And I personally am of the mind of like, yes, if you want to be a full-time voice actor, but there's no shame in like, if you're a good enough actor, doing something completely different on the side and only doing anime because that's all you want to do. I'm just like, people should follow their dreams, even if it's not what people are going to tell them to do. Especially in the anime space, you run into a lot of that, like, you're not a real actor. You're not a real voice actor if you're only doing anime. And I'm like, whatever, man.
Well,
if you like doing anime.
Gut check, but in the video, if in your video you gut check them and you're like, hey, don't do this, then you're only going to get the people who are like really dedicated, because you already scared off all the people who like were kind of on the fence about it.
That's true, but if you scare the hobbyists off from one video, they're just going to find somebody else at a panel to ask how they get into voice acting.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, all right. Or are they just find another video for their I guess confirmation bias or whatever it is?
Exactly. So I want a video that's like, listen, if you just want to do anime, it is possible that you could manage to do that, but here's what it's going to be like for you.
Okay. I could produce it, but it'd have to go on your stuff.
My stuff? I don't have it. Well, I have a YouTube channel.
You got a Twitter?
I do have a Twitter. That is true. I don't put a lot of long-form videos on my Twitter.
Well, no, you only need it to be 2 minutes. Again, the video essay thing, you only need 2 minutes. I guarantee you could explain everything and the life it's going to be. You can explain that in 2 minutes if you're writing it well. And
I guess.
And it's like performance. Yes.
Here's my question then.
Yes.
So this is something that I've been looking at. I want to know, do you think anime is ever going to have a place on YouTube?
It's always had a place on YouTube, I think. But the thing is that
I'm talking about full official anime episodes, not pirated, not rips, not, part 1, part 2, part 3.
Because that's how YouTube got built, was through pirated anime. That was a huge part of how, but anyway, let's see. It already is, isn't it?
Not a lot.
I could have sworn Funimation was putting up full episodes of Samurai Champloo. I could have sworn I was seeing that.
They have. But it's a very slim amount of their catalog, and it's usually only the first couple episodes of a series. I'm talking about, do you think that there will ever be a future where anime companies are putting up a whole show on YouTube just with ad revenue?
A whole show on YouTube just for ad revenue? And you're saying, like, the only way they're making their money is through the ad revenue?
Yeah.
No, that's never happening. They don't give them the cut. Because you got to gauge it like this. If it's, some no-name studio that pays their actors nothing and doesn't have any good equipment and are just getting any like minimum thing, could they turn a profit? Yeah, sure. But if it's the money that Funimation puts into something, no, they're not going to turn a profit. Because they got, and this is the reality with a lot of companies that started pre-internet and now have sort of adapted into this. And not just companies, entertainers, everything, is that they get used to the era, or they're familiar with the era where people would pay for things. We're not in that era anymore. That era is over. It's long over. It's been over for like 5-10 years now. And so a lot of these companies, they're like, well, screw these people. I don't care about like giving them for free. I want my money. I need my money. Like, I got to turn this profit here. So it's, I don't know. It's interesting. It's because at the end of the day, the what is it? Like, let's say the biggest movie reviewer on YouTube or whatever. That guy isn't rich. That guy isn't as rich as Peter Travers. That guy isn't as rich as Roger Ebert. Those guys don't make that money because it's exclusively ad revenue, and they can survive. They can survive themselves, but if it's a whole company where they got to pay actors and all this stuff for everybody, the turnaround just isn't big enough. I don't think. And I guess that's my experience as someone who's built a YouTube channel. It's just I've never made a cent of ad revenue in my life. I have a disabled AdSense. That's why nothing I do. If those voice acting videos, if I had an AdSense and I was connected to a network, that video would have over 1 million hits. Easy. Not even a contest. Because when you're connected to those networks, they put your thing in the related more. You like take priority over the other people. You work at Funimation. I'm sure that you could like get people who are like, oh wow, I want to talk to a Funimation actor. I'm sure that you could easily build a YouTube channel. Momentum in traditional media carries way more clout. Like a little momentum in traditional media carries way more clout than lots of momentum in new media, meaning YouTube.
That's true. That is true.
So there was this you ever seen that show Stranger Things?
I haven't seen it, but I know it.
It's like the little kids. I always think about stuff like this. One of the 12-year-old kids in it, he's big fans of all these like YouTube like animator guys. And it's just, and he like always retweets their stuff. And these are like 30-year-old men who are like groveling at the foot of a child. It's so funny. I love it. I love the power this kid has. But what I don't like is how he's not abusing it. He needs to abuse it. He needs to get everything he can. He needs to get every free promotion out of these guys he can. But anyway, that's just me. But you got to do that. You got to be the Stranger Things kid, and you got to go. Who's like? I'm trying to think. Who's like a popular voice actor on YouTube who does literally nothing professionally? Name someone. Come on, do it.
I'm sorry. Well, all the people that are coming to my brain have done professional work, because I'm thinking like Kagi Films has done professional work. Amanda Lee has done professional work.
More than you.
More than me?
Because professional work, that's your thing.
Yeah. Amanda's still upcoming, but I think that she's going to get there pretty soon because she is fantastic and she can sing.
They can all sing.
Nate Wants to Battle can sing. Yeah. Kagi Films, Alejandro, he has started singing. And then
this is the funny thing I find about like all those channels is like they make the audience the doing like Disney song covers or anime theme song covers. And then when they put out their real music, like nobody fucks with it. I always find that like really funny. It's like
it sucks.
You gotta stick with one thing. You gotta just work really hard at one thing. But anyway.
But I mean, I guess the person that comes to mind for me is Sky Does Minecraft. He's not really he didn't ever bill himself as a voice actor though. He was a Minecraft Let's Player, and then he was in one Funimation dub.
Okay, so yeah, well, if he was in a Funimation, I'm talking about people who haven't made it. It's tricky. It's tricky. Well, anyway, you got to use.
There's not a lot of that. Like, well, I guess there is a lot. There's got to be like people who only do online voiceover and have never stepped into the professional realm. Is what you're talking about?
Yeah, sort of. I guess. Yeah. Or because again, there are so many like Let's Players who call themselves voice actors but have never actually done voice acting in their life.
I mean, I guess a good example would be I'm in an online series called Phoenix Drop High.
Okay.
And it's like AFMAO is the channel. And it's all like Minecraft episodes.
Yeah.
Like they're in a school. And that has a really interesting blend of online only actors and professionals were sprinkled in there.
Okay.
So I'm sure there's a bunch of people in that like have never crossed over and maybe don't even intend to cross over.
Yeah. Well, anyway, use your old media clout to push around these new media people. You got to, and I guarantee you'll build a channel that'll talk about how to get into anime, and all your videos will be under 5 minutes and more informative than the 30-minute videos. I guarantee it.
Well, what I'm interested to see is if anime ever does make this leap. And, you're saying you don't think it's going to, but I'm really curious to see if any of these anime companies sort of adapt to like, putting full episodes on YouTube for people to watch or like having digital versions available to download on iTunes. Because as it stands right now,
I thought
anime
they were doing that.
Not as much, like not with their full catalogs.
Okay.
You see Funimation do it sometimes, and there are some anime that you can digitally download, like especially the ones that are available through Amazon Prime. But much more, most anime is only available through home video, and then if the company itself has a streaming platform like Funimation does, you'll see it there as well. So that's what I'm really curious to see, like as time goes on, if they're going to adapt to like generic streaming platforms rather than just their own exclusive streaming platforms.
Okay. Well, I'm in a weird place because I thought they were already doing it. So and B, again, I don't think there's the money in it for them to keep doing it. So I don't know. I'm in a weird place. It's ad revenue. It doesn't, because again, that's the assumption, right? Or wait, you said iTunes, so people would pay for it, but through YouTube?
I mean,
YouTube
iTunes
has
would be
that-
separate, probably.
Well, iTunes and YouTube, they both have the function where you can pay for, you can pay to watch. You know what I'm talking about?
Right, yeah.
So, I
So
mean,
like something like that,
oh,
or
well, I mean, if it was
just
that,
ad
yeah,
revenue.
if it was that, if it was pay to watch, absolutely, okay, yeah, that's definitely going to happen. But free, like, only ads, no, that's never going to happen. I don't. Again, these guys need money. These guys, it's a heavy company to run.
Oh yeah.
It's heavy. It's not it's not like, oh God, like, the household hacker where they teach you how to like make a high def speaker for $1 or something like that, But anyway, Marissa Lenti, always great to have you.
Yeah. I can't believe it's been 3 years.
Yeah, no, every year I'm closer to it. Every year I'm closer to death, but it's okay. All right, I don't know. Let me know if you ever go about producing the anime videos. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, dude.
But anyway, thank you for your time. We'll see you later. What's your Twitter? @LentiSoup?
Yeah, it sure is.
Okay, Twitter. That's all we do is Twitter.
Twitter.
But anyway, @LentiSoup. Go follow Marissa Lenti for all the latest updates on her voice acting career. Okay, we'll see you later. Thank you for taking the time.
For sure. Bye.
Bye.